Ever feel like you're stuck, like miles behind everyone else in, I don't know, some area of your life?
Oh, yeah.
We've all been there, right?
For sure.
Well, today
Yeah.
we're diving into this idea
Okay.
that you can transform any area of your life in just 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It sounds crazy, right?
It does sound pretty optimistic.
Yeah, but that's what we're looking at today.
Okay, I like it.
So where does this idea even come from?
Yeah, where does it come from?
It all starts with this story about a math professor and a struggling student.
Okay.
And the students, like totally overwhelmed, feeling like they're just drowning in the material, never going to catch up.
Right.
And the professor, instead of offering sympathy or extra credit or anything like that, just says, "You're only 2 weeks behind."
Whoa, 2 weeks? So,
I know, right?
pretty bold statement.
It is bold.
What's the logic behind that? 2 weeks?
I mean, when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks seems like nothing. When you're talking about, like, mastering something complex,
Totally.
But the source we're looking at today makes a case for why this time frame might actually be all you need.
Right.
It starts by talking about this idea of a level playing field.
Level playing field.
So think about a classroom setting.
Okay.
Everyone's kind of starting at the same point, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, base knowledge.
It makes sense in a controlled environment like that.
Right.
What about like real life,
Okay, yeah.
Everyone's experiences are so different.
Totally. And that's where the source brings up this idea of the power of focused effort.
Ooh, I like that.
It argues that those differences in experience
Yeah.
might not matter as much as we think. If you can dedicate like 2 weeks
Okay.
to intensely focusing on a specific skill or an area where you feel behind, you can make huge progress.
2 weeks. So you're saying it's not about the 10,000-hour rule.
Right.
It's more about like
It's
2 weeks.
not 10,000 hours.
So how does that work? Like, how does this 2-week transformation actually happen?
Okay, so the source emphasizes this idea of the compounding effect.
Okay, the compounding effect.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the more you learn, the easier it is to keep learning, right?
Right.
And that momentum, it builds rapidly.
Okay.
For example, like learning to play an instrument.
Yeah.
The first couple weeks are brutal.
Oh, for sure.
But once you get those basic chords down, learning new songs becomes way easier.
Yeah, it's like you're laying the foundation.
Exactly, the
Like
foundation.
those first 2 weeks.
And then you can build from there.
And it's not just about like the time you put in, right?
Right.
But the focus.
Yes, exactly, the intensity.
In those crucial first 2 weeks.
And it's interesting.
Right.
The author of the source is actually a teacher.
Oh, cool.
And they share some stories from their classroom where they saw students turn their math grades around like really quickly.
Wow. So these were students who like really struggled before.
Oh, yeah. They were convinced they were just
like bad at math.
bad at math. Yeah.
Interesting.
And it seems like what changed wasn't just their, knowledge,
Right.
but their mindset.
Yeah, their mindset.
And speaking of mindset,
Okay.
the source also talks about how believing you're inherently behind can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You mean like, if you think you'll fail,
Yeah,
you probably will.
It's like that Henry Ford quote.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
I've heard that.
Your beliefs really do shape your reality.
That's powerful.
And what's interesting is that the source suggests that feeling of being behind.
Yeah.
It's often just a mental barrier.
Not reality.
A reality, yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of buying into this idea that 2 weeks can actually spark some major change.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept.
And how do we make it happen?
Right, like where do we even begin?
Well, luckily the source gives us five actionable tips
Okay, I like actionable.
for making the most of those 2 weeks.
All right, lay it on me.
So tip number 1,
Okay, number 1.
crystal clear goals.
Crystal clear, okay?
You got to be super specific.
Specific,
Like saying, I want to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Okay.
You need to, break it down.
Okay.
I want to be able to hold a basic conversation about my hobbies
Okay.
in Spanish.
So a tangible goal.
Exactly. Something tangible
That makes sense.
to work toward.
Keeps you focused.
Yes, focus.
I like it.
And that brings us to tip number 2.
Okay, what's number 2?
Create a solid plan.
A plan, all right.
You got to actually schedule time
Yes, real time, okay?
each day
Every day.
For focused effort.
Not just thinking about it.
No, like
Put it in the calendar.
in the calendar like it's a meeting.
Yeah, like a super important meeting.
Exactly.
You can't miss
And then you got to track your progress too.
track the progress. Okay.
So you can see how those daily efforts add up.
So you can see it visually.
Yeah, see that progress.
Like, am I actually doing this?
Exactly.
And this is where knowing yourself is key, right?
Right.
Like, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Totally. You got to figure out
Yeah, find what works for you.
when you're most productive.
Build your plan around that.
Yes, build that plan around it.
Makes sense.
But even the best plan's useless
Yeah. What happens when
if you're constantly distracted.
distracted? Oh, yeah.
So tip number 3,
Okay, number 3. Hit me.
eliminate distractions
Eliminate them, okay?
ruthlessly.
Ruthlessly, all right?
Phone on D&D.
Okay, D&D, got it.
Close those extra tabs.
All those tabs, yeah.
And maybe even try something like the Pomodoro technique.
Oh, the Pomodoro technique, yeah.
You know, work in those focused bursts.
Those focus bursts, right?
Short breaks in between.
I've heard of that.
It can be really helpful.
Yeah. What about those website blockers?
Oh, yeah, those are great too.
Ones that keep you off social media.
Yes. Limit access to those distractions.
During those work sessions,
Exactly.
find the tools that work for you.
Yes, exactly. Find the tools that work for you.
Okay, that's number 3. What's next?
Tip number 4.
Number 4.
This one can be hard.
Mm.
Ask for help.
Ask for help.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
I mean, it makes sense, but
It's hard sometimes.
that is hard.
But the source reminds us we don't have to do everything alone.
Not alone, right?
There are teachers, mentors, coaches, even online communities.
Oh, yeah. Online communities can be great.
They can offer support,
Support.
guidance,
Yeah, guidance. And
and accountability. Accountability, that's huge.
it could be a game changer.
Yeah, someone to cheer you on.
Or just give you feedback
Feedback is so important.
on your progress.
Yeah, are you actually moving forward?
Totally.
Okay, so that's asking for help.
Yes. Don't be afraid to ask. What's the last one?
All right, number 5.
Number 5, last but not least.
This one might seem obvious,
Okay,
but it's often overlooked.
let's hear it.
Consistency.
Consistency, okay?
You got to be consistent.
Makes sense, yeah.
Those 2 weeks won't transform your life.
Yeah.
If you only put an effort here and there,
Got to stick with it
stick with the plan every single day,
every single day,
even when it's tough.
even when it's tough, yeah.
That's where the magic happens.
That's where the transformation happens.
That's the key.
Consistency.
Consistency.
Oh,
I like
yeah.
it. You know, thinking back to that math professor
Yeah, the one from the stores.
from the story, yeah.
What was his name again?
We didn't get a name.
Oh, right.
But maybe what he was really saying to that student,
To that overwhelmed student.
yeah, was that these 2 weeks
Yeah.
can be powerful
Powerful enough to
to turn things around.
turn things around. You think he was being serious?
I think he was highlighting
Yeah,
potential
the potential for
for rapid progress.
rapid progress, yeah.
With focused effort.
So it's not about being behind.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you can bridge that gap
You can bridge the gap
faster than you think
way faster.
with the right approach
And focus.
and focus, yeah.
Okay, so we've explored this whole idea of 2 weeks, right?
Six, yeah.
Being a surprisingly powerful time
For change.
for change,
We
exactly.
talked about the why
The why,
and even some how-tos.
the actionable strategies
Yeah. And those were good.
for making those 2 weeks count.
So where do we go from here
What does it all mean for, you know,
for the listener?
for the listener? Yeah.
What's the takeaway?
I think a big one is that feeling of being behind.
Mm-hmm.
It's often just in our heads.
More of a mental thing,
Yeah, a mental punch.
not a fixed reality.
Right, not reality.
We get so caught up in comparing ourselves
Oh, yeah.
to others,
Measuring ourselves against some, like,
imaginary timeline,
imaginary timeline, yeah.
that we totally forget about our own potential.
Our own potential for growth.
Right.
And I think this 2-week framework,
Yeah, to 2 weeks.
it gives us like an antidote.
An antidote to feeling stuck.
Stuck, exactly.
I like that.
It's a reminder that even small efforts,
Small but consistent
consistent, yeah,
can make a big difference.
when you're intentional about it.
intentional and focused.
Focused, yeah.
Imagine if,
Okay.
you applied this to other areas of your life.
Other areas, yeah.
Not just one.
Like what?
Your health,
Okay, health.
your relationships,
Hmm?
career, creative stuff.
The possibilities are,
Endless.
it's like a ripple effect, right?
Totally, like a chain reaction.
One positive change leads to another.
And it all starts with
Those 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
It's about taking control.
Taking back control.
Yeah, recognizing that we have the power
To shape our reality.
1 2-week sprint at a time.
I like that.
So what's one area
One area.
you'd like to transform?
Think about it.
Maybe it's finally learning that coding language
Oh, yeah.
or launching that side hustle.
The one you've been dreaming of.
Or maybe it's just something simple.
A consistent workout routine.
Yeah, whatever it is.
This deep dive has given you the tools
The tools
and the mindset
and the mindset.
to make it happen.
So, are you ready?
To start your 2 weeks.
Don't forget the key ingredients. Okay, what are they again? Clear goals, a plan,
Eliminate those distractions.
ask for help if you need it.
And most importantly,
Be consistent.
consistency is key.
Every moment is a fresh start
A chance to make a
to
change.
change your life.
And that's a wrap.
On this deep dive
Into the transformative power.
of 2 weeks.
We hope you found it.
Insightful.
And maybe
Changing. Until next time.
keep diving deep.
And keep pushing those boundaries
You might be surprised.
at what you discover.